Well, 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 if it isn't another ThursdAGE, it's me. I am your disembodied pal, Troy. And we got such a good group of people to hang out with today. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. And I know by the look at everybody who's here. Duke, good to see you, my friend. BeautyBot. I know who that is. We do have guests in the stream, on the stream, in the chat. Let me know, can you, I do hang out with people, Jay Gray, Skyhammer Press, Stormer, good to see you. I do hang out with people during this very program. As you know, ThursdAGE is all about things powered by the adventure game engine. And one of those things, of course, is the Expanse. And we've got Abraxas Precipice crew on deck. And let me do this. Ta-da! Hey, y'all. Look at that. Hey, can I be the hopefully 100th person to say congratulations on 3 years of streaming?
Forever. Thank you.
That's not nothing, my friends. That is pretty friggin' phenomenal. Now, John, you are our GM, yes. And you, I remember.
And producer, I should mention.
That's right.
I found that out. Someone said, hey, if you make the stream, you are the producer. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm a producer.
100%. Now, I'm looking back in time. It was, I think we started kind of making moves in like March or April for sure. When was the debut of Abraxas Precipice?
We debuted in May of 2021, and I had been considering it for about 3 months prior.
That's right. Yeah.
And I had reached out to a few people, and I actually think I didn't reach out to Green Ronin until we were almost ready to fire it off. Yeah,
well, so you had popped up and said, "Hey, I think I want to do a stream," and I was like immediately retweeting you.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I saw Donna was like, "Hey, I want in on that," and then it just continued to kind of bloom and blossom and grow, and it was pretty remarkable. But before we get into that, let's introduce everybody. John, would you do the honors?
Yeah, I'll introduce myself for sure. Everyone else, they got voices. At least I think their mics are working. Last me check. But I'm John Bultena. Hi, I am the GameMaster of Abraxas Precipice, where we play the Expanse role-playing game, well, now for the last 3 years. My day job, I'm a professor at the University of California, Merced, where I actually do nothing now but teach a class on tabletop role-playing games. And it's kind of my gilded cage I've created for myself, but that's what I do. So
nice. Let's go around the world there. Donna, we'll go with you.
Oh, hi, I'm Donna Pryor. I've actually known Troy for 1,000,000 years.
Decades.
And decades. What? Shit. I think, oops.
No, it's good.
Only allowed one profanity, right?
It was the F word. Only allowed
one. You got a budget of one. Yeah, one F word.
Okay.
The rest, we can kind of fudge.
Yeah, fudge.
Fudge it.
But yeah, so my day job, I work for Catan Studio. We're the English language publisher Catan. And then my second day job for no pay is my nonprofit OrcaCon, which is a tabletop games convention in the Seattle area, focused on
all the work and none of the pay. Yeah.
And accessibility.
Love it. Awesome. Let's jump over to you, Jacob.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jacob Mundell. I am a sporadic guest on Abraxas Precipice, and I always have fun when they have me. I'm a role player in my life, but my relevance to the game is that I'm an actor, a professional actor, and I had the life-changing experience of getting to be on 4 episodes in season 5 of The Expanse. I played Erich, the very unlike my personality, the murderous, drug-dealing, human trafficking gang lord of Baltimore in season 5, book 5 of The Expanse.
So good. And,
yeah. And
we continue to applaud that performance, by the way. I mean, it's still it's
phenomenal.
Stand out.
So great. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Well, the job on its own was great. I've done some work then, and I have an agent and a manager, and I continue to pursue television work. And but ever since I was in the show, I've realized that the Expanse fandom is vast and mighty. And being on the show was rewarding as an actor in itself. But since then, the fandom, engaging with the fandom, hanging out with the fandom, being sci-fi nerds, gaming nerds together, has been the gift that has kept on giving. And I've my willingness to engage with Expanse fans has always been matched by really cool, intelligent people who just want to talk about fun stuff.
I'll tell you, Jacob, when you first were getting involved in the stream, I was like, wow, that's some intensity there, you know. But you're a phenomenal actor. Fantastic to have you on stream. Let's go to Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire Lewis, and by day I write for GameSpot.com. I got sucked into all of this when I was tapped to preview and then ultimately review the Expanse Telltale game last year, and then eventually ended up hosting their PAX West panel. And during all of this, that's how I met John. And the Expanse kind of just has a way of sinking its claws into you. So long after it was no longer something I had to do for work, I still found myself, joining John and Donna and company every week for our streams. And I'm fairly new to the world of tabletop RPGs, but I absolutely love RPGs of all kinds. And I haven't looked back since. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, John has this knack for, let's talk about John like he's not here. John has this knack for sniping people and getting them to kind of come and be a part of streaming. And I remember when John first showed me a cameo by who was the cameo?
Oh, that was Francois Shaw, who I actually got to meet 2 weeks ago. I actually met him.
And
played Jules Pierre Mao on the show.
And
that was one of our first things. Was he was on Cameo, and I'm gonna get a cameo to kind of get the rest of the crew pumped up and just say hey, congrats, I hope you guys have fun playing the game, thank you and everything like that, whatever, say our names, stuff like that. He did the whole thing in character as Jules Pierre Mao with the background. It was like, I hope you guys have fun. I'm in prison. Yeah. But he did it the dead Mao thing, and it still holds up.
It was fan. And I knew when I saw that this was going to be a different kind of stream. John, talk about some of the beginning, sort of your origin story, and let's kind of roll that out.
So what happened was the pandemic and in the dark times. And basically, my work at the university went online. So I was teaching classes online, and my school got me nice microphones and cameras. And I was like, "Hey, this is all the stuff that people are saying you need to stream."
Right.
I'm not working right now for the summer. Why don't I stream? So I got my friends together that we're all in the heavy metal community. So they were all either musicians or artists. And this included Michael Shung, who's been on the show since the start. And we played this D&D heavy metal, really brutal game. It's like Conan, swords and sorcery, savage world type stuff going on.
Sure.
And we had a lot of fun doing that. And then we kind of closed that out because everyone started going back to work. And then I was like, well, I want to do another one of these. And it looks like crap. Under the Eyes of the Hawk looks like garbage compared to Abraxas Precipice. But it was fun. And I had been wanting to play the Expanse role-playing game. I kickstarted it. I was on the initial one. We were trying to get one of our friends to run it, but then he was kind of meandering on. He's like, I don't know, I don't have to do it. And he moved, but he sucks. And then I was like, screw, I'm gonna run it. And so, but I wanted to stream it because none of my home group, only one or two people were interested in it, and I knew of those one or two people, only one would stick with it. So I started kind of reaching out. I asked Mike about it. He had watched the show. He liked it. I had asked Scott. I knew who'd been a fan of some of my role-playing game publications way back. And then I reached out. I knew Lauren, who was on the initial cast for a while. She was interested in trying a sci-fi game. And then I did then Sam was on the show initially. I worked with her. I went to high school with her, and she really wanted to try it out too. And we actually, the first game actually before we ever aired was actually a home game. We ran hybrid with Michael, Sam were in it, and my friend Dan locally played with it. And we just kind of tried the system out and see how much we could do of the game in 2 hours, and it worked out well. So I was like, I can now produce this into a show. Was kind of my idea that like this, would the system hold up under the pressure of a time constraint?
Yeah.
So then I started putting together like a name, and I had a few different names I pitched. We actually used one of the other names for phase 3. Moloch's Gambit was actually a possible name for it. But then I kind of started putting it out, and actually I met Donna because Donna like saw one of the retweets of me asking for people to want to play, and I reached out to Donna, and Donna was super cool, and that's all kind of how it came together.
Yeah.
But it's the other element of it too was that besides playing and putting people together was I actually went and watched 8 other Expanse actual plays.
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of them, and my problem with them, and this is objectively an objective fact about them, was they never really went past 8 episodes, maybe 12. They were kind of shorter. They were these runs that kind of did their adventure, maybe did Absy's bounty, and then ended. And I was like, guys, there's going to be 9 books of the Expanse. Like this is
there's more to come.
It takes place over a period of like 60 years. Like you can do this huge campaign if you really want to. And I'm personally my home D&D games last like the campaigns last like 5-6 years. So I was like, I want to do a big Expanse game, and I told everybody from the get-go, I was like, it's going to be a long game.
Yeah.
And, there's still at least Donna's still here, and Michael and Scott are still here, so that's good.
Well,
nice.
And if I can just throw in, there's ongoing stories that have time to develop. They have so much juice to them because it's essentially a story about a family. If you look at the ship as, across time,
Yes.
and it's honestly, I know it's the Expanse, but it's giving me Firefly vibes.
Yes.
Firefly vibes.
Yes.
I hear that a
Firefly
lot.
vibes. And because, you've got a container for a really cool story for if you have the endurance to see it through. You've got a ship and the people on board and what they go through. So I'm
100%.
I love the idea that it's gone onwards.
Well, so how much time has passed in your storyline? Is it been a straight 3 years, or is it?
No, oh god, no. We have phases. I don't call them seasons because like the problem is that because Critical Role kind of established that the season means like all new characters, and so the seasons in actual play kind of is a weird kind of loaded term. So I call them phases, but each phase lines up to a book. So right now we're aligned with book 5. And so that's taking that the events of book 5 are occurring during this one. So like that's kind of the idea of it. But as far as it goes, book 1 takes place over a period of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Book 2 takes place a year after that, and that takes place over a period of a year. So 3 years in. Abaddon's Gate takes place like a year later, and that takes place over a period of like 5 weeks, basically. So you're talking like 5 years into it. Then book 4 is like another like 2-3 years possibly. So it's like 10 years into the storyline of the Expanse.
Got you.
And we plan on having each phase line up with each book. So we do plan on doing the giant time jump into the future.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that has always been on the docket. That was from the get-go. That was.
I want to shift gears to some character development and talk about everybody's character, what they're bringing to the table, and how they've developed. And Donna, since you, I think, are the most senior of the staff on.
That's the cap.
Let's start with you, my friend, and talk to me about the development of your character, what you've done over the span of time, and just give us the lowdown.
Well, when I was so excited because I have been a giant Expanse fan for a bazillion years before the show came out, even. So finding this and then deciding what character I wanted to play, I kind of looked the fact that there's no way I'm going to be able to keep up an accent for the film. So I didn't really think I would have time to invest. Like Claire does an amazing thing. She does the makeup with the tattoos and all that stuff. And I knew that I just wouldn't have the time for that because I travel a lot for my work to really invest in that kind of character. So I kind of went with my own personal history of my family. So my character is named after my great grandmother, and we've always been involved with ships in some way. You know, like back for years and years and years, even going back to like England and shit. So, and I have a mad love for tall ships.
Yeah.
So I kind of pulled from that. My mom was in the Navy for years and years. Everybody in my family has served. So it was not hard to think of a military character. I didn't really want to be just like a fighter, tough, you know, kind of thing. But in every branch of military, there's always the bean counters. So I was thinking a quartermaster would be great. And then I was like, well, so I have a wife on series. So I'm married to a belter, but my traditional family, that's the Coopers, have been involved in ships for hundreds of years. And so I just came with this very nautical background of why I thought, you know, I'd be able to do this kind of character, to go on the experiences from myself and from my past family. And I thought, because is like what Jacob was saying about the Expanse being a family, is that's really what I was hoping to find in here, is that our crew would develop into a family. Because when you watch the beginning of the Expanse, they didn't all like and trust each other.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be a really cool development, because John talked about having a long campaign. So like one of the things we did for the Patreon is we all made our own Spotify playlist for our character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back and put a ton of nautical stuff. And to call back to Troy, I met Troy through a game that we worked on called Pirates of the Burning Sea.
Yeah.
Which was set with tall ships and, you know, the whole
Ships
thing.
of the line and the whole. Yeah.
Yeah. So just understanding how ships work in general, it was just such a good idea, I think. And I never expected that I would be captain. But I do tend to be the party leader when I'm in a campaign. If there's nobody else that is that kind of person to kind of rustle everybody together as a cohesive group. And so we did a lot of that. And then I also have this, if you've ever, like, I'm a big fan of the West Wing, and there's a season, there's like election and something, and CJ has her office, and it's decorated with fake candles and fabrics over the lights and stuff. So that's how my crew quarter looks. It's very like kind of hippie looking, like
Yeah.
So it's kind of developed in this, you know, super organized, but yet is like everybody's grandma kind of character.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, you know, at least a motherly figure. Okay. So, your
we lost you for a second.
character over time, how have they developed? Sorry about that. Your character over time, talk to me about how they developed.
So I think by John, he kept me honest in a lot of ways of whenever I would have to like try to lie or hide things from my wife.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually, my character's gotten better at communicating and learning to not just like keep her ideas to herself. And also the whole, I know you don't want to fight, but you need to fight. And so being confident and taking on, you know, because I wasn't the pilot at the beginning, and then learning this stuff and taking on as pilot. So she's grown as a person a lot with the way that she works with people, and then how comfortable, well, she didn't have that same kind of confidence before. She was just our first mission was essentially a way to build up our trade, you know, from series, because she's a chocolate maker as a hobby.
Of course she is.
So she's a chocolatier. So that was kind of, you know, it's like it's still there, but now she's kind of grown into other roles.
I love that. And now tell me how that experience has changed you. I mean, you know, have you picked up some skills from your character?
Yeah.
I think so. Wow, that's a Troy. Jeez.
I know. That's why I'm here.
Coming out with the great questions.
The Oprah moment here. Yeah, do it.
I think it's made me more confident in role playing itself. Because in sticking to the how I feel about my character, because I've had to in other campaigns change my character and not play what I have boundaries when it comes to role playing now
Yeah.
of what is not acceptable. And it's just like, if you tell me I can make anything, I'm making anything. And if all these people don't want to do a session 0 and they want me to change, I'm not changing for them. I'm just going to say no, because the whole thing about no D&D is better than bad D&D.
You know, I will also say this, my friend. Watching you on stream is you command the space. It's really wonderful to see, and you can you bring your whole self to it. And I know how that can be when you're doing the RP stuff and you feel like, do I sound right? Am I feeling myself? And you really do. So it's wonderful to see. And you do a thing for 3 years. It's going to leave a mark, and it's fortunate that this is not something that is meant to be torturous and painful, unless it is, and let's talk about that too. Hey, Claire, talk to me. Oh, yeah, please.
I do want to mention in here is that
Yeah.
I believe in fandom again.
Oh, gosh, that's a lot. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's something. Given, you and I have both been through the crucible of fandoms, and yeah. A pretty good crew, a community growing up around the stream as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Sorry.
All right. No. It was fantastic, Donna. Thank you for that. Claire, talk to me about your character.
My character is Gaz Wheatley. Gaz is short for Gazelle. And
What is it?
that's
I
the
didn't know
name I
that.
stole. Yeah, it's a name I stole from one of my friends. It's spelled like I spelled like GHAZE.
Gotcha.
But her last name is Wheatley. I stole that from my grandfather, who was an engineer and did a lot of work on planes and stuff. I even have his toolbox that says Doc Wheatley on it, and in my head, like, Gaz carries that around with all her little like explosives and stuff. She's heavily based on 2 characters from one of my favorite Disney movies, oddly enough, the Atlantis movie, which is incredibly underappreciated in my opinion.
Agreed.
There's a little tiny mechanic named Audrey Ramirez, and she's kind of like the only one with any common sense in a lot of scenes. And then Gaz is also based on I think his name is Vinny, I think, and he's like their explosives guy, and he is kind of the complete opposite, very like reckless and like just all about the boom boom. So I kind of blended those 2 characters together. Gaz has lost an arm in a mining accident, so she does have an artificial like prosthetic, so she does have that sense of like, okay, I need to not be reckless, I need to be around people that I trust, because the mining accident wasn't her fault. And so she, I think, can be a little bit slow to trust sometimes, but she also does have that little bit of just like, ooh, I want some adventure, and doesn't always think things all the way through, but generally is kind of a mix of both. And she's a lot of fun to play. She's a tattoo artist, and
Right on.
is really into art and all of that. So she's a delight to play. And I wanted to make a character because, unlike Donna, I love doing crazy accents. And I've played D&D characters with Russian accents. I did one with a British accent in my most recent campaign. And but my Belter accent isn't, perfect by any means.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Oh,
strong.
thank you.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, how many hours did you play the video game for?
what?
How many hours did you play the video game for to like review it?
About 40 hours to review it. And one of the comments on my review was like, did you really spend 40 hours? I was like, listen, yes, I wanted to see how all of these things played out with these different choices.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all
don't make me pull up a screenshot.
yeah, it's a lot of belt building going that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
love languages, and so I wanted a character where I could, make use of that. But she's kind of she grew up on Earth, so she kind of has like Earther physiology, and sort of feels like she doesn't necessarily fit into either group because her mother was an Earther, her father was a Belter. They divorced. She's grown up on Earth, spent time working in the Belt, and doesn't really feel accepted by either group entirely necessarily. And her, you'll see some code switching where her, suddenly she's kind of speaking English with no belter lingo or minimal accent. And then when she's talking to like Waxer, one of our other belters on the ship, it kind of comes out more. But she's a delight to play.
I love it, and she's a delight to watch as well. I'm wondering, so in your experience playing your character, do you have a particular moment that you think back on where you're like, aha, like I got it, I got her?
Oh, please, tell me.
So I just now, like I just joined in November, so I haven't been here super duper like long. But I will say we had sort of an incident where we had been encountering these strange alien, fauna. We called them goyotes, and we angered one of them. I believe at that point we'd like thrown an explosive down a hole into their like subterranean nest. Very wise thing to do. But they started coming out, like Gaz gets slashed at. I believe at least, I don't think it was Waxer. Somebody got hurt. And that was kind of it was Wyatt. It was. And Gaz is tiny. She's like me. She's very short. She's very small. And I mean, she packs a punch. She's got a metal arm. But that moment of like, oh my God, like our one of our biggest dudes who has our back is like, needs my help now. So that was definitely a moment that I felt like she kind of came into herself. And then last night, actually, in our most recent session, we were fighting this big creature that is, this drone that's entirely mechanical, and is, we're throwing grenades at, or not grenades, but explosives.
They threw grenades at it. They threw grenades at it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we did throw a grenade. And we managed to we managed to kind of break the hull of the thing, if you will, but we aren't getting too far. And she at one point grabs this taser that Myrtle, Donna's character, always has on her. And ended up taking this thing down with it because I suspected that, hey, it's all made of metal, using something with some sort of like electrical charge or, electromagnetic, something like that might help. So that was like a really cool moment where I felt like, okay, I know what I want to do. But I'm still very new to the game, and I'm really enjoying it because it's not quite as complex in terms of like, oh my God, I need to memorize all of these classes and all of these spells and all of these things. It was very accessible for somebody who's very new to tabletop RPGs. So it's definitely made Gaz kind of coming into her own a little bit more easy for me.
Yeah, it's always been my take that because the H system is sort of easy to understand and challenging to master, but that it gives you room to play, to kind of take up that time that you'd be spending doing math and really working out who your character is and having some fun. Well, you bring some phenomenal texture to the show. It's a delight every time to see you. Let's jump over to Jacob. Jacob, you've got this incredible. You are like this is the most interesting situation where someone who was in the series steps into the TTRPG space, and also you're just so charming. Like, you're just such a good person.
That's true.
You are. I mean, we were talking before the show about other things that we won't discuss on this particular show, on this episode anyway. But, just you have a nature about you that is very kind and very engaging. You want to engage with people. It's very authentic, and you bring that to the stream as well, and your character. So tell me a little bit about what it must feel like to be part of the canon and then part of the canon. Like, it just kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Part of the canon.
Well, thank you. I'm sure my husband would disagree because, I like that I'm charming all the time. I think that it's all gratitude. I mean, it's a philosophy of life is gratitude for what you can get. I think that I've tricked the entire world into thinking that I'm doing them a favor when I'm an actor and I am a sci-fi nerd. Like, I grew up, Star Trek was Voyager was my Star Trek show. Big Star Wars kid. Mentioned Firefly earlier. Like, I am a sci-fi person, and I grew up playing board games, a little bit of D&D, some what is
Pathfinder?
Shadow Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And and Catan was a big part of my diet in college, and then I got to meet Donna. So people, my ego is flattered by the idea that like I'm coming down from anywhere to be here, but I've really lucked out to be a sci-fi nerd and to be on a sci-fi show, and then to get to do so much engagement with sci-fi communities and gaming communities. It's not work for me. I'm eating it up.
I love that. Hey, real quick, just want to say Janeway all day, every day.
Janeway all day, every day. I saw her in Philly a few months ago at a gay-centered sci-fi convention that I went to.
Was she just a delight, or like?
She was. I mean, there were several Star Trek actors there. I was the only one from The Expanse, and everyone was happy to see all of the actors, but Kate was the rare white elk of the weekend. She was the one that everyone was looking for. And there was a time when the line stretched from her autograph table around blocking the rest of our tables.
As it should. Yeah.
And yeah, you look at her and there's a glow. There is that undescribable aura.
Yeah, and she is so gracious to fans, just so kind, and a little bit of the same energy that you have. That I'm so grateful, and just you can just feel it. I watched something. I wonder if this was the same sci-fi convention where there were a bunch of drag queens that kind of performed a musical, dressed as her in the variations of her career.
That was the Gaze in Space Galactic D&I Con, which that was
love it.
It was fantastic, and she loved every living minute of it. So it was great to see. All right, so tell me about your character. Who do you play?
Dingo. Dingo. John asked me to hang out with them on the Sinclair, and I thought, how cool.
There's an interesting. I want to mention about Dingo real quick before you get describing him. But so Jake is actually the second person from the show we've had play with us. But first
that's right.
Patty,
Yeah.
And my Patty initially thought I was going to ask her to come play her character from The Expanse. I was like, absolutely not. I want to know, who do you want to be in this world? And that's the same thing I approached Jake with. Who do you want to be? I had some ideas of like kind of where I wanted to go with it by all means, but Jacob really fleshed it out. So I didn't hit him up and be like, hey, can you get Erich on my show? You know, I'm not trying to do that. Like I wanted like his legitimate ideas to be expressed in the show, and that's a big thing for me, is who do you want to be? And that's why I like role-playing games. Who do you want to be?
Yeah, and I think from the gene seed, that is that is a very brilliant choice that you make, John, just because honestly, I am a sci-fi fan, but I'm not as much of an expert on the books and the shows as some hardcore fans really are. And if I was trying to play Erich, I would probably screw up some details. Plus, it would be kind of like a handcuff to marrying the character on this, instead of making something up, you know. And I've had a lot of fun making a new character.
Yeah.
Sorry, Claire. What?
Oh no, I was just agreeing.
Yeah. But
it makes perfect sense. All right, so tell us about Dingo.
Dingo was
sorry, I shorted out again. I think
Dingo is half intention and half surprise to me. Like John said, what kind of character you want to do? And I said, well, maybe I should be a disabled character. People don't, this engine, this game has the age factor. It has all kinds of things. Why don't we center some disability? That'd be fine. And I said it kind of flippantly, like, that sounds fun. But then John started getting into like, oh, I actually happen to know all of these reasons why disabled people are being sent into space, because their disabilities happen to be advantages in space. If you have vertigo, or, people with physical disabilities think more creatively about situations than able-bodied people do. What was it, John? If you have vertigo, it might be an advantage in space because you don't get.
There's stuff I think vertigo is one of them. That's not what I've looked into too much, but one was like not having sight, because there was an instance on the International Space Station where a fire broke out, and it was smoke filled, and no one on the station knew how to navigate it without sight, and so it took them a few more minutes to extinguish the fire than they thought it would. And that's really scary.
Yeah.
You know, and even the idea of someone that's like the astronauts on the space station, they have to work out like 4 to 6 hours a day. And one of the thoughts was that, like, well, you do use your legs, but you don't have to use your legs as much. And so, like, one idea, like, you got people that can cut down on how much they have to actually like work their body out. Like, there's a lot of different elements that things can turn into advantage. Because I think that the premise is that we are all only able-bodied because of gravity as it stands. Like,
sure. Yeah. Interesting.
You change that up, and people suddenly you have very different experiences. And there's some great resources out there that I could go on about forever, but I won't. But I did look into it, and that was a big thing. Was we talked about why he couldn't see, and like we know that they can regrow limbs, or like maybe they can regrow, they can put new eyes in, but like we didn't want a simple solution like that, so we started looking into like different nerve issues that go on in the eye, because it isn't necessarily your eyes are a problem. It could just be the nerves between the two. That part of your brain it's just not there. And so we really developed the disability quite a bit and thought about what kind of tools would they have for this person. And we kind of based some stuff on the show, based some stuff on some other science. So it was cool, yeah.
And we've worked it into an interesting metaphor for Dingo's character, because Dingo's like this. I guess to summarize it up, Dingo is a guest who has come into the world several times, and the story behind it is that he's kind of this high contract corporate, you know, business mercenary a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he takes he's very good at security and coding, and he's like a security officer, but the electronic digital side of security.
For those at home that are interested, he has the same job as Bull does in the books, but he's on the Luna branch of Tycho Corporation.
Yeah.
But he's up there, but he's like on another site. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Sorry.
And no, that's good. And having robot eyes has kind of made him really good at that, because he sees in, like, how did you describe it, John? He sees in code, like he sees the internet, kind of.
Well, no, he has like implants in his arms that like he can kind of feel the room around him. Mm-hmm. And so it's an echolocation he's using to kind of get a sense of what's going out there. So he's really good in confined spaces, like ships and everything. That's not a problem. And then up close, he has what basically is the same technology you see like at a color copy machine, but it's in his finger, so he can actually like kind of feel, based on warmth and everything, these tingles in his arms. He can see color very closely. But we did that mechanically using the age system. Really interesting, because what Dingo did was he used hearing for longer vision checks, and then he used touch for up close vision checks. So we kind of did some kind of cool finagling with the system in that regard, which I really was a fun challenge for me as a game master. And I kind of liked how we both. That's one thing I liked about working with you, Jacob, on this game, was that I kind of gave you some homework, you gave me some homework, and we came together and combined notes, and we had a fun time. So
what a perfect way to do it. I mean, that's the ideal, right?
It's worked out really well, I think.
Well, the other thing that was interesting about you coming on the show too was we had you on once for a kind of a bit. I also have worked in several Erich references into your episodes. In one that I think the first one, you actually undermined Erich's efforts for human trafficking, which was kind of fun. And then the other one was because we did the whole Abaddon's Gate arc on the show in 4 episodes with Jacob, and the crew actually they finally met James Holden. Oh, I really liked when Dingo, when they said that James Holden showed up, and Dingo's just like, oh God, like I think the quote was, all right, everybody, there's a drama queen on the scene. James Holden showed up. God damn it! Like, you know, and it's like the character who's like this corporate entity, is like rolling his eyes at this guy who thinks he's a hero, and just fuck this asshole again. And like and I think Myrtle's done that quite a few times. Oh, that guy, fuck that guy. I'm tired of him. That was like one.
That was the one. That was the one.
That was a good one, but it was a quote, so it doesn't count, right? No, but the but no,
it doesn't count as my F, does it?
I did though. Yeah, I did. I usurped it. I annexed it. But I really liked when because you guys did meet Amos at one point briefly as he's holding down the fort in Abaddon's Gate. And I had to do the moment where he stops Dingo and he asks Dingo, "Hey man, you have a brother on Earth or something?" Like, you know, it's just kind of like these little. It's a little silly nod, but it's like I had to do it. I had to do it just to kind of have fun with it to some degree.
And fan service camp does have a little bit of a place. I'm glad that you decided not to lean too heavy into it because it doesn't count as substantive content. But like assuming the rest of it's there, come on, guys, what are we doing? We're nerds. This is fun.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember on the first time I was on, I as a memento, as my personal piece of Dragon Horde, I have the tequila bottle. I actually from the Expanse, I have it, and I brought it to the episode, and it was kind of like, ooh, here's the Casa de Lola tequila, and
it's a prop.
Yeah, and the right amount of that is chef's kiss.
You know, and so just to not to make too fine a point of it, but you enjoy this. I mean, you really enjoy it. Yeah, I can see it. I see it in the way that you engage on the stream. I see it in the way that you behind the scenes, and when we're streaming, the way you talk about the people that you're streaming with, and the subject matter. It's just really wonderful to see. I think it brings a really interesting, authentic, thoughtful spin to this stuff, which is a little unexpected sometimes, I think, when you look at streams like this.
I think the thing about too is that like it was with Jacob and Donna both, especially because I kind of met them through doing the game. And I was upfront when I first reached out to Jacob. I think it was on Instagram or Twitter. I think it was Instagram. I was like really frank with him. I was like, look, I'm just some guy with some dude with a show. We play the Expanse role playing game. We're super geeky. Hey man, if you ever want to come on, let me know. I'd love to have you on. And by all means, we compensated him for his time and such. Because we do pay our cast a pittance, but it's something. And because I do value their time, but we I initially we hit it off pretty quick, and like I don't like to speak for you, Jacob, but like I consider you a friend now, someone that like
I think so. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Okay. It's okay, but like no, seriously, like I reached out to Jacob again back in February for because I do my charity birthday one-shot stream and to come back as Dingo because it was a prequel, and he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it, let's have fun, and we raised some money and had a good time and got to meet new people and everything, and I just like using this platform that I can in different ways, and I deeply appreciate everybody that's willing to contribute to it, and that's how I met Donna and become friends with Donna. Claire, I met the Expanse experience. So that's kind of the thing is like the Expanse fandom has been really strong, just period. Like this is beyond just the role-playing game. I've met so many cool people through it.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on giving as Jacob says, and the like. So, but yeah, if Jacob, I've spoken to at least 5 different people on the television show that have actually responded to me. And some were like, some people like, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm like, hey, no problem. Hey, cool. I appreciate your time. And some are like, that sounds a lot of fun. And some people are like, it just doesn't work for my schedule. I can't do it. And I'm like, cool. I was like, hey man, I look forward to seeing you. Let me know what you're working on next. I'd love to see it. And I just try to be supportive.
Yeah.
And you don't take it personally if people can't do stuff, man. You're just like, oh.
Well, so John, I'm going to pause you real quick because we're going to get into you next. But first,
watch out.
Inside John Bultena, go on.
That's right. But first, we're going to say this. Hey, friends, wherever you are, if you're watching this on Facebook or you're watching this over on Twitch, maybe you're hanging out on what I'll still call Twitter till my dying days, or you could be hanging out on LinkedIn where we're streaming live. Because why not? That place is dry as dirt. We need something colorful like Donna's hair. Lighten up the space over there on LinkedIn. Do me a favor. Would you give us a like? Make sure you're subscribed. If there's a bell, you need to tickle it just enough so that it will get, it'll speak to you when we go live. You'll be one of the first to know when we go live. In addition, it helps us with the algorithm. That's the real monster here. So do me also maybe share the link with mom. I mean, what a delightful, wholesome program this has been today. And I think your mom would be really pleased to know that you were hanging out with people the likes of this. So while you're doing that, in addition, we're going to be giving away, we released another Trades of the Expanse. Entertainer. and I love it. John, what do you think? I know you did a stream.
I dropped my link to my review/reaction to it. It's a really good book. I've been ranking in my head the Trades of the Expanse books, and this one's number 3. It's the dead middle for me. That is to say, like even the worst one's still really good. You know, like they're all great.
Absolutely, yeah.
My favorite actually so far has been Journalist, but Entertainer.
Same.
I really liked the kind of dynamicism of thinking about how do you get entertainment to people over very vast distances, and also thinking about like I understand like Chris owns the company, so it made sense for you guys to have a lot of subgenres of punk and that thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like you guys don't know, Chris is he's an old punk. I mean, like punk rock.
He's very much still, he's aging punk.
So there's like tons of subgenres of punk in there. I will say the one thing in there I was thinking about, Jacob, you might appreciate, was they have like future, what might be called future like genres of music, and one of them's called Looneywood was the one, and it's basically it's a fusion of American drag shows with Bollywood, but they take place only on Luna under that gravity.
That's right.
Yo, that sounds like some of the. Okay, if my husband and I were gay married in the Expanse, that sounds like the kind of club we would go to.
Let's go hit the moon.
Let's go hit
the Looneywood show. Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
I don't know how Looneywood is in the Expanse gay communities, but it sounds.
It looks like it's popular.
It sounds really rad.
They got it entering the book, so it's got to be legit. So yeah, it's kind of fun reading through the different like extrapolations of music genres. As a music geek myself, I really enjoyed that. So but no, I did a really good job. It was good. I also like that like there's basically what amounts to like theaters with rockets strapped to them. They kind of like, so they have traveling like theater groups.
That's right.
That have their own rockets on those ships and go station to station to perform. And the number one thing I thought when reading it was like, this is this Entertainer book is the template for running like Josie and the Pussycats in space.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have to say, as a journalist in real life, I was also just impressed by the sheer amount of detail in all of these Trades of the Expanse books. I loved the journalist one too. I was like, oh, we have unions. Can I go? Can I go
I love that. Claire, that's so good to hear. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I love that.
Of course.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a giveaway. Now, what you need to do is, chat, you need to put hashtag 3 years exclamation. Let me show you what it looks like, because we're using StreamYard's giveaway tool. So all you got to do, hashtag 3 years exclamation point, put that in the chat. And we are going to talk to John for a bit, and then we'll get back to the chat. So make sure you're doing that. Start that now. And, we're a little bit of a delay. So nicely done. Look at that. They're coming in. Okay, fantastic. So, John, you have really, from the very beginning, you had an intensity about this, a commitment to this stream, to the formation of it, to the foundation of it. That was unwavering. Talk to me about looking back over 3 years. How do you feel?
It's a large body of work, because right now the whole series sits at like several hundred hours. We have over 100 episodes. It's a lot. I always hear people talking about like, oh, I'm gonna go start watching from the beginning. And I'm like, it sounds like crap. I kind of try to put them on like later parts of the stuff. My main motivation here, and I'm pretty open about this online, is like spite. I do it because of spite. It's just to like keep it going, and a lot of it was that I watched a lot of Expanse actual plays, and I did that because I wanted to see what other people were doing with it, what was working for them, what wasn't working for them. And a lot of that, I wanted to kind of like do it one way that was a little bit bigger, more grandiose, and kind of lived up to like what I think it could be and by no means like I think I have like am I the be all end all? I think there's other things you can do with it, but
hey, you know what, John? Frankly, this is all about you right now. So
Okay.
yeah, you get to be the end all be all. This is your moment. This is your victory lap.
I just don't like. I just want to keep on doing it. Like I want to keep on hanging out and playing it. And you know, I won't kid you. Like Tuesday night, I had a pretty bad day on Tuesday, and Wednesday, like I was kind of rolling off the bad feelings. But then I came to run my game, and I felt good afterwards. Like at 4 p.m. that day, we go live at like 6. We get online at 5:15. I felt like crap. But you know, I had the game coming, and I was you know, I don't want to disappoint my friends, and I didn't. And we had a blast. We had an absolute blast last night. Honestly, last night was one of the best games we've had for a while.
Good.
Yeah.
And,
So
you know,
good.
It was good. Yeah, you
Tense.
guys. Although you guys just spent way too much time with that hole in the wall. Like you guys were like, what can we throw in this pit? For like that was like the game for 45 minutes. I think it was what do we have in our pockets?
Besides ourselves.
Besides ourselves.
I love that.
It was very much like it reminded me a lot of being 10 years old and going to the quarry.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's what a lot of it means to me is just keep on doing it. And we're trying new things here, and I do some one shots and everything. And I'm actually kind of taking it easy on the show right now in terms of kind of like doing what we're doing. But I got some ideas, so I got some real ideas.
Well, I love that, and I gotta say, you know, it's very clear any sort of endeavor like this to last for 3 years with a contiguous storyline and the kind of people that you're bringing to the stream, it takes a kind of resolve and determination. You know, and I know you said, you know, you're doing it out of spite, but I also think you're doing it out of talent. Like you've got a skill for GMing that is very, it's very evident, and it's a joy to behold, even when they're, you know, poking some kind of thing in a hole with a stick.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're very good at moving them along or moving them into the next space, and also one of the things that I enjoy about watching you GM is that you care for the player, like you kind of guide and mentor, and you're a coach as well as a GM.
Well, for sure, yeah, and that's a real hard thing to kind of like finagle because like not everyone knows like all the science. I don't know all the science, but I know enough to kind of like get through it. We had Jesse Christensen on the show several episodes, and for those who don't know, Jesse Christensen is now, as of like 2 weeks ago, the head of NASA's exoplanet, is the head scientist of NASA's exoplanet operations. And so
like for real. Yeah.
Like the real, real doing the real stuff. And so talking planetary like physics and everything with Jesse is like scary for me because I'm you know, I know enough to kind of talk a little bit, but like not much of the depth. And so like when I started talking about how like in the Illis situation when the moon melts, what's happening is like they're converting the moon into energy to like redefine physics, and Jesse's like she's like that's so much energy. Like how would you even like begin to channel that? Like there's no way. And I was like, well, these guys did it, and like you know these dead aliens did it. So it's basically their like hazmat like system, like you know through emergency shutoff valve. So it's kind of interesting thinking about like those kind of elements where you kind of brush up against the limits of it. But yeah, I want my players to. You know, I want their characters to be informed, and I want them to have a good time. And I don't want them to feel like, oh, I'm held back because I haven't like read all this stuff,
or I forgot I had this, or yeah.
I think what's interesting too is of us in the group, only Michael, Donna, and myself have actually read all the books all the way through. We know how it ends.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it, and I know that Jacob has read like Oberon. You read like Erich's back end story, which is. I actually, of all the short stories I want to see on film, that's actually the one I want to see on film the most.
I when I got the part, I crammed the first 5. No, I crammed book 4 and 5 on audio. I watched the show. I had already watched all the show, but then since 4 wasn't out yet and 5 was to be made, I crammed the books on audiobook, and then and they sent me the churn to read the backstory, and I also tracked down Oberon, which is clearly Erich, but it never mentions him. He's just the old man.
Yeah. And I remember the one thing that was really cool too about having you on our show, because we played we play the book-based the book-based canon, which is different than the show in some. It's the same story overall, but like there's some minor differences. And I remember the one thing that shocked you, Jacob, was that like when we played through we did Mulk's Gambit, which is our version of Baden's Gate. You had no idea that Ashford is a garbage human being, and you were like, "This guy really like." I loved him on the show, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, in the book, he's a piece of shit."
And that's another testament to you.
Yes.
Is that you've made the choice for your, for better or worse, you made the choice to stick to the book universe more than the show universe. And being an expert on either universe is a feat, but then being an expert on both of them and knowing how to stick to one of them is a feat.
Yeah.
And Ty Frank, when I was on Ty and that guy, Ty Frank, I told him about that, and he said that he was impressed that you were more committed to the books, and B were that was the lane you chose, because the books were clearly his first love.
Well, yeah, and I mean part of it too is like I want the RPG is based on the book.
That's our license.
And it's this part of this license, and so by all means, like it's great to like point at the show and be like, hey, here's what this thing looks like. That's a great resource.
Mm-hmm.
They Dungeons and Dragons does the same thing, points to the D&D cartoon in the 80s and go, hey, that's what this thing looks like. But it's also good for us to kind of think in different ways, and I like that different expectation. And I think that the RPG books have done so much to expand the canon. And we're involved. I know Donna and I are, and I know Jacob too. We're involved with some of the online groups, and like I feel like once a week I'm telling someone, hey, the RPG has more about information about this, because the RPG, for example, is like the only it's the first place that mentions why the UN rises up to power. That there's global climate change and everything goes to hell. The UN's the only one that can get everything together and get everyone to safety. That was it. And so like the RPG has a lot of edges to give people more fandom. And that was my thing too, is like, I knew the books were ending. The show had one more season, and I didn't want to end extracting wealth from this cool universe.
Yeah.
And I think there's plenty more. And that's one thing. I mean, like that's why I think Trades of the Expanse is so good. This is why, like, and I'm not trying to like put you on the spot here, Troy, but like all of us that play the RPG, we are really looking forward to Soul System. like
yes,
but you understand why. You understand
absolutely. I do. Yeah.
Why? Nothing. Not to grief Green Ronin, but like
no, yeah, you're not
because
at all.
we really want to know more about it. And there's like we haven't begin touching the Laconian stuff. We haven't begun touching like all these other worlds. We kind of have an idea of them, but I think that that's what's making this such a great space to operate in and everything. And
I do want to say one thing about that just as a sort of a special little thing. I'm not going to get too much into it, and don't read too much into it. But big things await. There's we are on the event horizon. So there's some good things coming your way, and it may not materialize in the way that you expect, but it will materialize, and it will be amazing. And Nate says 3 years, congratulations, because he gave us $5 for your. I love that. And so here, I'll give you your split 50 cents. I'll send it your way.
Hey, it's better than Twitch. It's more when we get Twitch ads. So.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, let's do a drawing now. We are does anyone have to vanish at the top of the hour?
I'm good. I got time.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I mean, listen. My feeling about ThursdAGE is I love it when there's more to be discussed, when there's more to be sort of unpacked, and of course there is. But I want to do this drawing real fast, and so let's do that. Who's it gonna
random.
be? It is. Hey, right on, Jay.
GameMaster, very cool, and do enjoy the book, man. It's a really
Congratulations.
I love that. Very cool. Let's see. Let's you know what? I'm gonna draw again.
You're gonna do another one?
Why not?
Give everyone a book.
Nice.
I feel generous.
Feel generous? Okay, very nice. Yes, you, sir.
Can it draw the
Got
same
it.
person the second time?
I think it pulls it out.
Hey.
Oh, nice. You know, I'm
Congratulations.
gonna do another one.
Jeez, okay.
We're gonna have
Shit.
3
All right,
face
Oprah.
rock stars, all right? Yeah, we're
It's
gonna.
an entertainer.
Get a book, and you get a book.
You get
Yeah.
Who's it gonna be? Is it? Oh, right on. Look at that.
Very
I'm
cool.
gonna do it.
Good
I'm gonna
spread.
do it again. I'm gonna do it again.
Jesus, dude. Okay, you're an addict.
All these
Wow.
people have been
This is-
super active in the chat too. So
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which thank you,
Let's see,
by the
who's it
way,
gonna
everyone
be?
who's watching.
Nice,
Commando.
Commando.
Commando's one of our
Very
big
cool.
fans. Commando's one of our
Yay.
biggest fans, actually, who's
Yeah.
been watching the
Yeah,
show.
I'm gonna
We
do
know
it
who you
again.
guys are.
I'm gonna do it again.
Do it again.
I'll do it
Oh, no.
again.
we're on 5
Just
now.
one more.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Let's do one
pulling
more.
an
Do it one more
Oprah
time.
here.
It's
Like
gonna
two people.
be Nate.
Nate
Good for
Rollins.
you.
Nothing
I just one more time. Just one more time.
Yeah.
There's no drawing at this point. It's just one person left in the pool.
And that was who was left? Who hasn't? That was
I think it was Duke.
Duke. All right, everyone wins.
Okay,
That was
cool.
yeah. Everyone gets a book. Hey, do me a favor, friends. Send a note to Let's Play at greenronin.com, and I will. Or you know where you can ping me in the Atomic Think Tank. Just head over to atomicthinktank.com. Our really amazing community platform. I'm loving it. Everyone's really getting into it. There's plenty to talk about there as it relates to the Adventure Game Engine, but I wanted to leave more time to chat with these fine folks. Listen, it is 3:01, and I know that we could do another 2 hours of conversation. But how about this? Let's look at a future point in time where we can kind of get together and do something fun, like, kind of hang out on stream and maybe, build something, work something, talk a little bit about age and character development or something like that.
Absolutely.
I want to thank each and every one of you. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, because actually one of the things on the Atomic Think Tank was the new Engine magazine.
Mhm.
And that's actually one thing when cause you guys gave us an early copy of it. I read through it and I really liked Steve Kenson's apprehension system. We've implemented that into our game. And even though I haven't I've used the system to build the points of apprehension, it's really been really cool to prompt the players to think about what they're worried about.
Yes. Yeah.
And kind
Yeah.
of make them
That's
reflect
been
on
fun.
that. And now at some point, this next episode, I'm going to totally abuse their apprehensions against them. So
Oh God.
I'm looking forward to that a lot. Kind of a cool system.
Spoken like a true GM. I love it. Yeah, we're really excited about what I love too about about Engine is that it really drives home the fact that we're working with a modular system that you can take a bit here and take a bit there, take that system, move it in, adjust it to your liking, and that there's, no wrong age, which is really fun. And the fact that you learn it for one game, it for the rest, so that's always really good stuff. Hey, chat, I want to thank you for being so great and so kind to our friends. The cast of Abraxas Precipice, phenomenal group of people, such great role players, really nice people just to be hanging around with, and and a finer group I couldn't imagine being associated with. Just absolutely really proud of the work that you've done. Very proud to see you bring the Expanse to life, and you really do. And I think you inspire other people to up their streaming game, John. I really do.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I know some hardcore streamers, man, and mine's okay, but I've seen it's a fun hobby, It's fun to be able to do it from a computer. I do want to say that. Hey,
yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just saying the
it.
thing about John is that, like you said, Troy, he is incredibly knowledgeable about this universe, right? But there are people that can be knowledgeable about things and they know every last little fact. But what John has, I feel like that makes him special is he has this passion for it that is so contagious.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he had me sold on this within 2 seconds of talking about it, and when we had kind of first met, and it infects, it's like the protomolecule. It just infects everything it
Right.
touches,
Nice
and
segue.
the entire
Nice segue.
crew.
Real, yeah,
And
nicely done.
all of our guests, you can just tell that they really enjoy it, and I think a huge part of that is because our GM is so not just knowledgeable but passionate and wants to be there as much as if not more than the rest of us, and that makes everything so much better, so much more fun, so much more intense and scary, and so much more enjoyable.
John, the other thing that another sort of marker of his passion and his professionalism as it relates to this, how many, to get people who were in the series to come onto the live stream is just that's just amazing. That could have gone a different way.
I have a I'm gonna put some cards on the hill. I'm sorry, Jacob, to reveal how the sausage is made here, but like
I've forgotten. You remind me. Go ahead.
I kind of like I just reach out to people and I'm honest with them up front. I'm not like, hey buddy, how you doing? Hey buddy, or some crap like that. It's more of like just like, hey, I'm this dude. I got this thing. Here it is. Here's some links if you want to check it out. Like you can go and look at it and get an idea of what this is. We've been on for a while. Like we're not just out of nowhere. I always offer to do charity streams for whatever charity they want to do. So like Patty, when I told Patty I was like, we'll do a charity stream, she's like, well, there's this charity I like for Indigenous folks up in Canada. Can we do that? And I was like, give me a second. We looked into it, legit. It's cool, but yeah, we can do it. And we raised like $1,800 in like 2 hours for this charity. And she started crying on the streets. Like, oh my God, I didn't know the power of this. I was like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And the game wasn't her thing, but she appreciated doing it. She had fun doing it. And, I still talk to her once in a while, and she's like, I really appreciate you having that moment. I'm glad we could use my experience with this one show I did for a few episodes and to leverage it. And we did some good for some people out there. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being a part of my show, and thank you for hanging out with us. That's all I'm looking for. And it's really cool. I will say this. I can actually say my one brag I will say about this is that I actually had one actor from the show reach out to me and they couldn't make the time because they are in higher demand. I will say I will say this, it's not a main player on the show, but it was I will say this, they are very good looking. like very very good,
like how good looking?
Yeah, very good looking man. I was like, oh, I didn't even, if you were on the show I'd have you come on anyways. No, it was cool. It's been kind of an interesting, weird thing at times where like some people kind of get a wind of it, and we're all secret nerds, and I'm like, no, put it out there, let people know it's cool, go game and everything. So I'm sorry.
Let your nerd flag
well,
fly.
Listen, exactly. Hey, I want to say, just for the record, all of you are very good looking. Okay. So yeah. I love that. Hey friends, I'm dropping the link in live chat. If you're watching this on demand, go check that out. This is the Linktree, all the goods. You'll be able to check out the links to the live stream, of course, information about, you got some merch, you got all kinds of good stuff. So check that stuff out. Again,
we even have merch with Jacob's face on it because we actually part of his character.
We do,
and because that's the one thing we have over the Expanse television shows. We actually do have merch with Jacob Mundell's image on it.
And John's whole company has turned me on to baseball tees because he sent me a couple pretty rad ones that have it's Cauldron and Tower or yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you gotta love the baseball tee. Yeah.
So get into it. Get into the t-shirt merch.
Do that.
They're comfy, they're fashionable. They're fabulous.
And John is committed to paying the crew. So I'm not
gonna say I pay him a lot, like a living wage, but I do contribute somewhat. So yes.
But it's that honorable thought that I think is that is important. So anyway, go check that out. Let me see, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else. Nope, I lost it. I've lost it. Listen, friends, thank you again for hanging out on ThursdAGE. I really appreciate it. Chat, of course, always entertaining and engaging. I do want to say, tune in this coming Monday. We got Mutants Masterminds Monday coming. It is, no, we don't have, I'm sorry, we do not. That's what I wanted to say. I remember now. This coming Monday is a holiday.
Oh, right. Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah.
We're skipping the holiday. We're gonna let Alex and Steve go take their cryo sleeps, and then we'll be back the following Monday. Another great show planned. It'll be a blast. We'll see you all there. And go for it.
I want to say, you guys need to get Jacob to play Mutants Masterminds. I want to see Jacob Mundell play a superhero RPG.
Nice. Okay.
I'm just saying. I provided his email, harass him until he plays superhero RPG.
Right. Yes, we're going to mail him every day.
He does a great bit in his comedy act about wanting to be Wolverine, buddy. Now you can be Wolverine.
That's right. Yeah. I watched some of that. That was great.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Any kind of superhero whose power has to do with his hands is pretty interesting to me.
Right. Absolutely. And we'll send you some information. But this has been a delight, a true bit of fun. Thanks again. Hey friends, do go check out the stream, watch it, watch it from the very beginning. I want you 3 years to watch every single, and then write about it. Maybe do a little fanfic.
Oh yeah.
Involving Donna's hair.
Please.
Right?
Go back to the club and series.
There we go. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ooh.